Let's move on to an exciting concept, zero-shot classification of text. Traditionally, machine learning models are trained on predefined labels, meaning they can only classify into categories they have seen during training. However, what if we encounter new categories or dynamic content? We need zero-shot classification. This approach allows us to classify text into categories that the model has never seen during its training. It's an adaptive method focusing on understanding context and semantics rather than relying solely on previously encountered labels. It's especially powerful when dealing with rapidly evolving topics or when predefined categories just aren't enough. Let's delve into an example. Imagine reading an article titled "Renewable Energy Sources Surpass Fossil Fuels for the First Time." In traditional models, we would need predefined categories. But with the zero shot, we dynamically present categories like environment, politics, and entertainment. The model, without being constrained by prior training, analyzes the article and concludes it fits environment best. This adaptability is the power of zero-shot classification, enabling real-time flexible categorization. Let's dive into how we can utilize zero-shot classification using the Transformers.js library. The steps are straightforward and they closely resemble our earlier approach for sentiment analysis. First, as we always do, we begin by importing our essential library. Next, we establish our pipeline. However, this time, instead of sentiment analysis, we specify zero-shot classification as our task. We are also pointing our pipeline to a specific model, which is optimized for zero-shot classification. Let's dive into another real-world scenario. Consider a user feedback stating, "Last week I upgraded my iOS version, and ever since then my phone has been overheating whenever I use your app." As a business, it's crucial to categorize this feedback to address it efficiently. In this case, we have provided zero-shot classifier with potential categories: mobile, billing, website, and account access. Examining the user feedback about an overheating phone after an iOS upgrade, our classifier's insights are clear. It sees the issue as most related to mobile with a score of 0.558. Website is less related at 0.182, and billing and account access have even lower relevance at 0.14 and 0.12 respectively. The classifier correctly pinpoints mobile as the central concern, allowing businesses to quickly channel feedback to the right team. Let's now start the implementation. I will go to the zero-shot classification page and I'll go to Visual Studio and open the zero-shot classification page. Now, as usual, we have 3 steps. The first of them will be at the top to import the library. We first add the script tag. It is of type module to allow us to use the import statement. Let's then go and do the actual import. We import the pipeline function from the CDN for the Transformers.js library. In fact, if we want to see where to get this from, we can go to the Transformers installation, and here you can see that we have this library. Let's go back to Visual Studio Code. Now, the next step will be to attach the pipeline object to the window. And this is because variables inside scripts of type module are private. So in order to make it globally available, you need to attach them to the window object. Okay, so that's the first step. Let's go down to the second step, which is the initialize model. Now, in the initialize model, we create the pipeline. We create the pipeline by passing zero-shot classification as the AI task that we want. Also, we pass the name of the model. I'll shortly show you where I get this name of the model. But remember, this initialized model is async because we need to use await. Await makes us wait until the pipeline download is fully completed and the model is cached in the browser cache. So await, because this will take some time, and then the returned object will be stored on the classifier. Let me show you where you can get this model. Let me copy it. Now I will go to the transformer page. If you go to the pipeline API, if you scroll to the bottom, you will find the pipeline various tasks that it can do. One of them is zero-shot classification. So if you click here on model, you can find these models. Our model is the second of them. Let's go back to Visual Studio Code. As I said, the model download will take some time to download and cache. You will not notice that in my environment because I already downloaded the model and it is already cached for me. But in your case, remember, the first time you try the model, it may take some time. Sometimes it's up to 1 minute and sometimes it is less. Okay, let's go now to the next step. The next step, we will come to the classify text button handler. If we go back to our page, here you can see we have this classify button. This is the handler for this classify button. So let's do the first step. You can see that we are getting the text and the label because here we have the text and the labels which are comma separated strings. The next step will be to trigger the classifier passing the text and the labels to it. Now this is await because it takes some time, and that's why this is async, because we need to use await. After time, the result will be returned and stored in this variable. Then I will output the result to the output area, which is here. Of course, after converting the result object to a string. So let's go and demo that. So if we come here to the application, here you can see this statement that we talked about earlier today. Let's classify. As you can see, it has been classified as mobile. You can see this is the sequence that we passed, or the statement. Here we have the labels, mobile, website, billing, account access. We also provided this. Now the return, it told us the scores. So the first one is this, mobile, it is 0.557. The second one is website. The third is billing and account access. Okay, the next subtask we will do, it will be zero-shot classification. We will change the model, and this model allow multi-label. For example, when you specify a text, you can say that this text is urgent and phone. So it can allow multiple labels. Here it will only selected the label, which is one of them, which is mobile, and this is the other ones. While here you can select multiple labels. Both of them will be, for example, 0.95, 0.95. So here the sum has to go to 1 because we have 0.557, 0.18, 0.13 and 0.12, so the total is 5, so only the top one is classified. While here we have multiple labels and two of them, for example, can be 0.9. So that's the idea of multi-label. Let's go back to the code. In the initialize model here, I will initialize the new classifier. We pass zero-shot classification and the name of the model. Now in classify text multi, which is this button, I will add the required code. Now first I am getting the text and the label. Here is the text and here is the label. Then I will fire the classifier. I'll pass the text and the label, and I need to tell it to allow multiple labels. So I have this JavaScript object with this key multi-label set to true to say that I need you to suggest more than one label. Then we have the result converted to string and output it to the output area. Let's now come and test that. As you can see, this is the sequence that we passed, the labels that we passed. And here you can see that urgent and phone, both of them got 0.99. So this total doesn't have to be 100 or 1. While in this case, here, the total should add to 1. So this is about zero-shot classification. It's all about labels that has not been seen during the training.